You just ask the questions. I, I I am someone, so I love pillow talk, but my husband does not like to talk when we lay in bed. So I am very much someone who has become very used to and very comfortable being at a dinner table or meal or just casually sitting on the couch and just all of a sudden tossing out like this. uh yeah, I was playing like 2 nights ago. I was playing video games with my husband, and it was like, I was like, what do you think of the multiverse, like multi-timeline theory? Like, what beliefs do you have around multiple timelines, if any? And I just tossed that out there in the middle of gaming. uh we were playing Marvel Rivals, by the way. I play on PS5 and he plays on PC, and we'll just join Discord from our separate areas of the house. Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was sort of well placed. It was just on my mind. I don't think I don't think he was playing Doctor Strange at the time, but just the idea of timelines has been coming up a lot recently for me. But yeah, you just slap those questions out there, or those thoughts out there, and see what happens. How does the raccoon work in World with Frost Witches? What's a Frost Witch? Oh, are you talking about? Hold on, are you talking about Marvel Rivals, or are you talking about uh real life? Okay. You're not sure. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, because are you talking Rocket the raccoon, or are you talking Raccoon the animal? I don't know. I feel like there's, so my thoughts with the multiverse and timeline stuff, and what was coming to me in meditation a few nights ago, was that there is a, highest and best timeline for yourself, but we all, it's, if we're all, and I like the analogy of the tree of life, or the tree, it's like we're all connected to the tree, but each of us has our own root, our own main root, and that main root is our highest and best timeline. But then we have little root hairs that branch off, that could be moments where we could jump to a different timeline. And oh, where am I going with this? Hold on. But I do think it's possible to know and feel when you're on, that highest and best timeline. From my, at least from my own personal experience, that's where I feel like I am, and in my meditation, that's where I feel like I am currently, and I have have jumped to some of the other ones at times before, or mostly in the night, but that's bringing up my dream I had last night too. Ah, that's fun. Do I like music or math theory? I would say I'm not overly familiar with music or math theory, in at least not off the top of my head, but I do love physics, and I do love learning about, like, I have an engineering background, so I love learning about physics and frequency and energy and uh quantum physics or quantum mechanics, and like those kinds of things. Yeah. That's why we use like analogies and metaphors, because sometimes it's easier to understand a concept with something similar. Ooh, that's a good question. Yes. Are we the sine wave or the particle? Yes. We are both. We are a wave, we must go up and down, but we experience things in moments. Yeah. Time, the concept of time is so fascinating to me. And so it's so true. Like I remember when I first started thinking about it, it was very trippy. But the more I've grown and everything, the more I'm like, it's just so cool to think about. And it's so cool to experience and also be like each moment in time, like each moment is potentially a different timeline. Like I could have said something else after this sentence or like this word in this moment and this moment, like any of that. But I also believe, like that tree root analogy, we are creators of our own. Like when we are on our like highest and best timeline, we are creators. I mean, even when we're not, because you're those little root hairs are still growing too. But what I was getting at is that we're creators of our reality. And so if you're living on the leading edge, if you're living on the tip of the root that is growing, that is continuously growing forward, you're you're making the timeline as you go. Right? Like, and yet you can bend space and time and talk to future selves. Like, because I just had an experience this past weekend. Okay, hold on. I'll come back to that. So I just had this experience this past weekend where uh, I did a journey in meditation, but I was like someone else guided it instead of me being the guide. And we got to go. We met up with our higher selves, and then we got to go to a future self. And I've never done a guided meditation where I've like tracked down a future self, a future version of myself in that capacity. And that was trippy in a very cool way. And I also got to invite that future self back with me. And so, like, I feel her with me now. And that in and of itself is equally very cool, but also feels like cheating, but also feels like dope as fuck. I don't know. Uh, but I don't think that they're okay. The question on so if we're strands, who holds the ends? Uh, my this has been my experience and my beliefs, obviously. So take it or leave it. But um, in my channeling and in my meditating, like spirit has had me start writing a new Bible per se. And I think we're using the term new Bible like tongue in cheek to, because the original Bible is just I won't go into it, but it's basically they're writing a new Bible that is um it's new. It's very fascinating to just be the channel and allow whatever comes through, but that's on the website. But the thing is, in all the messages I've received, it's like the source or spirit consciousness came to be with the Big Bang. Like the Big Bang occurred, and that's when consciousness was born. And that's the visualization that I've seen. That's a visualization I have felt in my own ascension journey. Is like I was shown the Big Bang and the birth of consciousness. uh, and the where was I going with this? So it's not necessarily any one particular person. Consciousness just is. And we've all like come to be from a singular consciousness that is now evolved into, you know, millions and billions and whatever else, but we're all connected to it. And I've drawn a picture. I don't think I have my notebook on me. That's also somewhere on my website too, where it's like this picture of like if consciousness was a cloud, we would be like little dots or bumps on the cloud where we're all connected to the cloud. We all are a part of the source consciousness, but we also have our own individual elements that makes us us. That's part of it. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool shit. Let me tell you. I remember the first time I had uh, a timeline jumping type of experience. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think it was possible until it happened to me. And then my sense of reality shattered for about 36 hours, and I spent that amount of time laying on the floor, like basically looking at the ceiling, like, what? Like, just contemplating all of life and what I would want to be if I could jump timelines, like where I'd want to go, or like what would I change if I even wanted to change anything. And I didn't. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be on this timeline. I wanted to be like see this life through. Oh. Yeah, the clinging to ourselves but wondering what degree we really know what ourself is. That's something for each of us to consider. I know I've gone back and forth on, I'm an individual, and it's both. I feel like both can exist where it's like I'm an individual, and also I know I'm connected to everyone. Are you the similar experience in exploring the thread of timeline jumping slash, whether or not you'd want to jump timelines? And while you type too, it just thank you for coming and chatting too about this. I love these like mind heart expansive conversations. uh, these are great. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow the channel. Well, maybe that exactly, but you know why it doesn't necessarily make sense to change anything. Yeah, if we're thinking like if I go back to my experience when I first had a timeline, like a conscious timeline jumping experience where I was like fully aware, felt like I was glitching between timelines. Uh, that to me, at least what I ended up kind of rationalizing for me was that I care about one seeing my life through here, and I care a lot about my relationship and the relationship I'm in. with my partner because I was like, I would not want to jump to a different timeline and have some some other person that I'm sure that version of me would recognize and that version of me would know, but that's not the life I want. The life I want is the one that's here in this world in this now, and the one that, you know, went through all the things I had to go through to get to where I am now and use that for whatever is in service of the highest and best. So, I don't know. The idea of kind of jump into another timeline without my loved ones or without having the potentially the same past that I have now is not of interest to me in particular. 'Cause I like who I've become. Actually, I love who I've become. And I wouldn't want to risk who another version of me could be that didn't have those experiences. Not sure I understand that statement. Okay. Precognition is better than omnicognition. To receive the whole thing, you appreciate each part, but to see it in the short term and just let a person be more themselves. Yeah. Limited perspective allows for change. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's limited perspective allows for change. I think a limited information allows for change too, because even if I think about ignorance is a gift, yeah. Even if I think about how I work with my spirit team, like they don't show me all of the details on where I'm going and like every exact step to get there. They show me, you know, just like the next step or two, or and they like let me imagine a little bit out, or start to let me, or I'll start to imagine what that big end end thing might be. Um, but I definitely don't have the whole path laid out. It's very much a okay, here's the path is being like created or shown to me as I go. Fascinating. Well, cool. Well, I'm just about here at time for how long I was gonna stream today because I'm cutting it off in 2 minutes. But this has been lovely. This has been a great stream of doing some readings, doing some deep thinking, doing some dancing, you know, all the good things. So thank you for stopping in. Like I said, be sure to follow along so that way you get notified when I go live again. Should be Friday. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in my chat some more, talking again. Until then, I hope you like my drawing. What drawing? Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's the power symbol of love, the little follower symbol. That was a gift from Spirit to me slash, and they're on my little stickers too, so you can order a sticker if you want that has that same symbol. But, all right. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I love that you make stickers too. The synchronicities are so good. All right, have a good one. Mwah. Sending you all love and light. Talk to you later.